Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Friday Jeff Ed. It's been one hell of a week. So much has happened. Can you believe it's December already? And obviously, one of the things that's happened earlier this week was the launch of Jeff Club. Extremely exciting. So much going on, but also just a little bit of, I think, clarification needed and some advice on the things that are nutrition in Jeff Club world, and also specifically for all of our one-on-one clients, how this kind of impacts the plans that you're on. There are a few changes. I know some of our coaches are obviously inundated with questions, and it's always just going to be easier getting it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So I thought it was a great opportunity to run through a little bit of where we've come from, where we are now, what some of that change means, maybe even a little bit of what's coming and what's in store, just to whet some appetites, and also just answer some questions. So instead of trying to keep track of some comments on Facebook and in the new web app, which is great because we've got those social features, so I can get to you guys straight through there, which is epic. But also just please post them in here and I'll get through as many of them as we go. Firstly, hello to everybody. I hope you are all well. And it's Friday, so our last opportunity to get a bit of productive things done, and let me know how you guys are all doing. Hopefully, loving some of the new features in the app as well. And we've seen some great feedback, and maybe I'll give you a little bit of sort of some answers of things that you're all asking for that are in production, and they just need some sort of extra work and testing and things before they come out. But let me say hi to who's all here. Pat Govendale, Auntie Pat, how are you? Leanne, hello, how's it going? Lisa, Antoinette, hello guys. Lauren, how are you? Kerry, a lot of questions. Hopefully you'll answer them. So if I don't, just stick them in at the end. So let me get through everything. And whatever's not there, just pile them into the comments at the end. Looking forward to this. Ed managed to join in a while. I actually haven't done one of these in a while. So our Food for Thought Friday kind of gets tied up into all sorts of other things that we do. So I was setting up everything here, a little presentation in my second screen, and having to remind myself how it all happens. I've missed this, having a chance to just chat a little bit. So best for me, I think, just to dive straight into it. And I thought one of the good places to start is actually giving everyone a little bit of a history of where we came from, how that evolved, why it changed at certain times, why it's changing now, and what that's kind of meant for the systems in the background, and just so that you understand a little bit more about it. So, history of nutrition at Jeff. Way back in the beginning, if anyone was on our one-on-one programs essentially 2 years ago, it was a one-pager. Breakfast, you had 3 or 4 things to eat. Lunch, you had 3 or 4 things to eat, and that was it. If there was nothing else, you wanted something else, you and your coach putting a lot of work into finding some alternatives, but it was literally get results, eat these things, and that's kind of what we had. We got a little bit better because we needed to, obviously. And I introduced a lot of things that worked really well for me in private practice before this with clients and patients that I was working, and started to play around with the portion system that I'd been implementing, but still wanted to keep it concise. It was still on one page so that we could stick it on a fridge and you could just follow it, and it's fairly easy to do, but also gave you an idea of how you could build meals instead of me just telling you, here's something to eat. You're like, well, what happens if I don't eat that? So it was evolving from there. Then off the back of that, I built this little calculator so that all of our coaches could plug in your details, and then we'd work out what your energy requirements are. So in the same thing that we do in a nutrition practice, now we were evolving it into everything that our coaches could do. So how much does this person need to eat, and why is it different to that? Your goals are different to someone else's, and how can we try and build this into our nutrition? So we started doing that, working out what your energy balance was, and then building that into the combinations of foods and this portion system that we sort of had. Then from there, we started saying, all right, well, some people want to go low carb and some want to be low fat. So let's put some plans out for both. And we started doing that as well. And this was all just growing and growing based off this initial system. And because of that, it also meant there were some hurdles that meant we couldn't adapt it as much as we really wanted to. We didn't think we were going to have to serve as many different questions and queries and preferences and we wanted to. And that's why we started building things a little bit more differently, so that we could better serve everyone's tastes. Because we know nutrition, the most important thing is giving people something that they can stick with. So at the heart of everything we do is trying to give a nutrition system that matches anyone's preferences and tastes and choices, so that you can focus on the bit that really matters, getting your portions right to match your goals, sticking with it, enjoying your food, and seeing it as a positive in your journey. So I think if that's the theme that underpins everything, that's maybe it's in one sentence. Then we had the opportunity. I've always wanted to go deeper into this, and because we started playing in the world of now actually having an app, nutrition was always just a PDF in that app. With the launch of Jeff Club, it gave us an opportunity to now create some tech behind this. And then it became exciting because now we could really start to tailor and personalize. And that's where we are. We're starting that journey with tailoring and personalizing it. And because Jeff Club was launching, it was a perfect opportunity for me to get started in doing that. And that's where we are now. Sorry, let me move across to the next one. The Jeff Nutrition system has evolved with that. So we had a portion system that worked. We had these plans that worked, but now I wanted to bring it into a world of tech as well. So off what was working really well, we've brought that along with us. What wasn't quite, it was an opportunity to change it a little bit. And knowing where this is going to go to, it means that our system just has to be as flexible as possible so that we can tailor it, we can personalize it, because that's what our nutrition needs to be for everyone. And that's what we are striving to try and get. So our nutrition system, there are a couple changes, and people will see them now. If you've never been on One-on-One, it's entirely new anyway. But if you've been on the One-on-One, there are a few kind of name changes that happen and things. But essentially, everyone goes through that calculator that our coaches were originally using only for One-on-One. We've built that into an algorithm in the back. So you sign up with us and we get all the details that we need to determine your energy needs so that we know how much food you should be eating. It's an estimate. It's a start. When you've got a coach, the value of that means that they can adapt it for you based on your progress and say, okay, well, let's maybe move it up or down, or let's add or remove a snack or whatever it is, just to try and get you there. Because in anything with nutrition, a lot of it's based on estimates, and everyone, for example, extracts a different amount of calories from the same food, or even the equations that we use for two people that look the same and all of their measurements are the same, the equation that your energy requirements predicts can be quite different, 15 or 20% out, just because of your physiology and your metabolism, things that you can't measure, unfortunately, without trial and error. And that's where your coach's value comes into it. But we've got that. We've got a starting point, and everyone gets a recommendation by going through that algorithm. And it's into one of 4 categories of portions. The first is light, which stands for low in total energy. So it's a light, it's the smallest portion plan. We've got a small system, a medium system, and a standard. If you were aware of anything in the background with your One-on-One plan before this, it kind of equates to the plans we had people starting on originally. So the light is based on 1,200 calories, small on 1,500, medium on 1,800, and standard on about 2,200, depending how you maybe use snacks, whether you repeat them or whether you drop them. So by combining snacks, which means either having 2 of them or dropping them as well in the day, it means we can get clients to absolutely anywhere on the kind of calorie spectrum, and the coach is going to guide all of our One-on-One clients on that. So the calorie total that we've estimated for you in the back end, we'll also know, right, well, maybe for you, because you're falling between 1,200 and 1,500, let's take a snack away or add an extra one to take you sort of in between. And that's what a One-on-One coach does, is kind of guide you through that. So we've got a little bit of flexibility to it. We don't want our clients counting calories. We're doing it for you in the back end. So all you have to do is focus on portion sizes, how much food I'm eating, hopefully tying that into intuitive eating as well and thinking about your hunger a little bit. And because these are purely recommendations and everyone's body reacts a little bit differently, maybe I don't have to finish it. Maybe I need to eat a little bit more because my hunger is talking to me. My progress on a scale is talking to me. These are all things that you need to build in to your nutrition system. All right, so that's where it starts. We've also then got a daily allowance that we always tie into all of these, and we're assuming that people are going to consume or use these things in a day, and they will get us to the total energy needs. There's a cup of milk or milk alternative for everyone. There's 2 teaspoons of sugar or honey, and there's 2 teaspoons of cooking oil. On our old one-on-one plans, that varied based on like the size of the plan. As you went towards a bigger plan, there may be 3 teaspoons or whatever. Too confusing. We've simplified it, and we've just said across the board is a daily kind of expectation. People are going to consume a cup of milk or milk alternative in their tea or their coffee or whatever. Maybe add 2 teaspoons of sugar or honey or syrup or something along the way somewhere, and it's fine. And use 2 teaspoons of cooking oil as they go. So it's just accounted for, and it's put there as before. Now, the system that builds this all up is a combination of food and energy units. And you'll be familiar with that on the one-on-one from what you've experienced in the past on your plan. We've just updated this, and this is where some of the change comes in because we've got a much better way of doing it now. So the opportunity to refresh this meant I could relook at all of our portions, find a better way of doing it. And luckily enough as well, seeing how it had been done, it meant there were a few small changes that I could do to kind of give us this very, very flexible system. To get everyone to their portions in a meal or in the day, it's a combination of these little energy units that are based on 70 calories. All right. And why 70 calories? To be honest, it's pretty much based on an egg. So the portion system, one of the easiest things to kind of base it off was 1 egg and similarly 1 slice of bread as well. So everything else you can kind of break into grams or, portion size of a chicken breast or whatever. But 1 egg is 1 egg, and it's a beautiful food, and it's important to a lot of our plans, but it's also if you're using 1 slice of bread or whatever. And the portions that we created along the way always averaged out sort of between 60 and 80 calories. So 70 is bang in the middle of that. Our entire system is built around that. Now, it means some of the foods in the past, when you had an added fat, for example, or you had a added protein, we were actually trying to get you to a fat amount in that portion or a protein amount in that portion, which the change now is we're actually just trying to get to an energy amount out of that portion. So every energy group is 70 calories. It means as well, if you, and when I get to the plans and what they look like for the one-on-one, if you know that you need 3 or 4 or 5, I'm giving you a suggested way to build those, but it also means you can kind of think of what those calories will be. If you're picking something up off the shelf, you can quickly scan it as well, and maybe a quick bit of maths will get you there. But at the heart of it, these units are all based on this 70 calorie number. All right, and that's why some of them have changed. Now, our units, if you're on the one-on-one, this is what your plan looks like. And it's different because historically we had plans that were either low carb or low fat, or vegetarian or vegan. I want to give everyone the skills and the tools to be able to choose the approach that they want, and see what works for them. You and your coach will be able to discuss these. Hopefully everyone just starts on a balanced approach, because to be honest, 95% of the people that we work with just get results by getting portions right. There's no magic in doing it through low carb or low fat. It's really, if we're just getting total energy right in the day, we're going to get our results. And that's why the balanced approach is the most important. In the one-on-one nutrition plans, for every meal, you get a breakdown to see, all right, well, with breakfast, I know I need 5, or with my snack, I need 3, or with lunch, it's 7, or whatever it is. And this ties in to the same suggestion that we make for you, being whether it's light, small, medium, or standard. We've done all of that in the background for you. So if you're on the one-on-one, or even if you're not, you're getting a recommendation in the app saying light, small, medium, standard, and that's based on your total suggestion. You can move it up and you can move it down if you want to, and your coach can do that for you as well. When you're on the one-on-one, this is the breakdown of what that looks like, and all the recipes that we've created in the background, this is what we've used to do it. So if you want to do it from a balanced way, there's a suggestion. If you want to do it from carbs, there's a suggestion. And if you want to do it from reducing fat, there's a suggestion as well. But the most important thing is if you're just getting your total amount of food that you're eating right in that meal, that's how you're going to get there. It might mean, dinners, you're going to do some low carb ones. That's cool. Do it. It might mean rest of the day is going to be more balanced, and that's fine. You and your coach are going to talk about the best approach for you. Historically, on the one-on-one, our plans would have mostly been balanced breakfast, lunch, and snack, with dinner being low carb. You can still stick with that if you want to. You can move away from it to just doing all balanced. You can keep your lunch as a low carb. It doesn't matter. As long as you're eating the right amount of total food, find a way that you can be most consistent with it. All right. And that's the most important thing for you to do. There's a bit of a change from our previous one-on-one that was low carb and low fat, because previously they weren't low carb or low fat. They were lower carb or lower fat. We still had a little bit of carb and we still had a little bit of fat. But if you truly want to follow one of those approaches, we've given you a suggestion of what it looks like. But you can also find a mid-ground between that. I'm sure there's a comment, and I might have caught one halfway through it. But your low carb might mean, instead of breakfast, where I've said here, for example, do 2 carbs, you just want to do 1. And instead you want to add an extra fat or extra protein. That's fine. It's okay. Get to the total amount in the meal when you're building it. That's the most important thing. I've got a little meal planner that I'm working on for one-on-ones as well. That'll hopefully guide us in this. You'll be able to build your own meal, and you just know that at the end of it where you're getting through. Combine 5 portions and you're there. Done. Wherever they come from, you and your coach are going to work out what the best approach is. You just know what your total limit is. But if you want to do truly low carb, it means cutting out carbs. And that's why I've showed what the extreme end of a low carb looks like. And if you want to do truly low fat, and those are pretty much used for when you're just really looking for sort of an alternative, or there might be a medical reason or a specific nutritional reason that you want to limit it. To be honest, most of us are going to have success just with following fairly balanced side. All right, so that's what the breakdown is and how it's just slightly different to what it was previously on your one-on-one. If it's too confusing, if it's changed and you just don't, what was working for you was working for you, stick with it. It doesn't matter. You've still got your old plan, your previous plan. This is just going to make so much more sense as the new system develops. And over time, maybe you'll have a look at it and you'll work through it, and you'll start to understand it and see how each of those recipes give you your light, small, medium, large, and it starts to make sense. You want to know how it's built up. This is what it's for. That's what it's there for. If you just want to keep doing what you're doing because it's working, do it, please. Whatever works for you is the most important thing. Okay, so before I just move on to some of the things in the app, I'm going to scroll back to some questions and just cover anything. So send them through if we haven't got there yet. Lauren, is the new one-on-one guide on the app specifically for me? It says a medium option. Yes, so everyone who's completed preferences in the app, the suggestion there is based on your info. So your age, your weight, your height, your sex. We've predicted the amount of energy you're burning based on the program, all of that kind of stuff. So it then says medium is your suggestion. That doesn't take into account your history because we don't know that. So on the one-on-one, your coach is going to know your history, and they might say, well, based off how much you were eating or what you have been doing, let's actually go a level down or maybe a level up, because the app can't do that. The tech can't do that. That's what a coach is for. Ed, loving the throwback. Coach Lucy's here as well. The tech's amazing on the food side of things. Thank you very much. I'll get to some issues that we've seen. If your meals are all the same, you actually just need to go and refresh in the app, and I'll let you know how to do that. But I'll cover that at the end, just some troubleshooting from a tech side. Yeah, possibly ticking quite a few preferences. I'll talk to that. The more you filter out, the fewer the recipes that match all of your requirements are. So if you go tick a whole lot of preferences, it might just mean that the recipes that are left over, even though there are almost 400 of them there now, if they don't meet all of the different things that you want out of a recipe, it won't pull them through. Love the new nutrition system. Makes actually love to make and eat the new menu. It's beautiful. That's what I love to hear. Same dinner and snack, so I'll cover that again. Yes, there is something that you'll need to do. Kerry, you feel the low carb and low fat's very misleading, as it's not practical to have zero in either which way it's shown. So that's exactly what I mean in terms of showing you what low carb looks like, truly, what low fat looks like, truly, and what balanced is. You find in between that, whatever works for you. As long as your total meal gets you to that number of units, that's the magic. So if your lower carb means, right, well, maybe I'm just going to drop one carb and I'm going to have a little extra fat, that's fine. Do it. It's all about the totals. But when we actually want to label something by low carb, I need to tell you that it's low carb. So a low carb meal doesn't have one slice of bread in it. A low carb meal's got nothing in it. So that's what it is. From how you build your day out, it might mean, oh, cool, maybe I'll do a low carb meal, but my other one won't. And that's fine. Your total daily intake will just be lower carb. It won't be low carb. All right. You love what you're seeing there. Sorry, the name didn't pull through on that Facebook user. You really want to learn to build a proper balanced meal, losing weight, but also keeping your family healthy. That's in the essence what we want to create with everything that we do. Enable and teach you how to do it yourself, giving you the tools to do that, with the menus and the recipes and all the other things that I'll tease you a little bit later that are coming. And also how this builds into me and my family and everyone else that's doing it. Everyone can eat the same food. Everyone's portions might just be a little bit different. Tony's given a quick feedback on how to change things there. Kerry, also 4 fats and 4 proteins, even though the same calorie per portion, but quality is not the same. I don't understand that question. So if you could just reword it for me. Will the recipes have their macros included as previously, as we can use them according to your plans? So the recipes won't. What we're going to do is include a little explainer actually on the portion size. And we've got a breakdown. So for example, on breakfast, if I use this one here, and we know every calorie unit is 70, breakfast is 350 calories, snack is 210, lunch is 490, and dinner is also 490. That kind of example, knowing it, you'll get that breakdown. But it doesn't mean it's exact, because your choice of using red meat versus white meat, slightly different calories. And that's also why we're not focusing on calories, because of all of the variations, and it actually doesn't matter because food databases aren't accurate, and you and I eating the same piece of meat that looks exactly the same extract different amounts, which is why we don't focus so much on it. We're focusing on portions instead, guided by those calorie numbers. Same selection. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you guys how to refresh your menu after changing your selections in a second. All right. You just did that and it worked. Needed a refresh. Super. If your coach, for example, moves you from medium to small, will they be able to update your recipes or show the portions correctly on the app? Yes. It's currently just a feature that we sort of debugging and putting out, but your coach will be able to override it for you, so that the recommendation that pulls through is that. For now, you've just got to manually change it, which is a little bit of a hassle, but it is what it is for now. It's literally, it will be in the next little while, while our tech team gets through all of the tech needs that we need, but your coach will be able to override it for you. All right. Sorted, looking all good, fantastic. Tony's on that, super. All right, so let me go through into what the app looks like. You guys would have all seen this, but important that this is all completed, because this is what we use to determine your needs. So your goals, you'll put that in there. And whether that is lose weight, you'll have a look in your preferences. There's toning. Females, we're even asking if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, because all of that determines your calorie needs. If it's weight loss, toning, picking up weight, maintenance, all of that kind of changes the back end of how the portions might all display. You give us whether it's standard, vegetarian, vegan, that all adds in there. And then in your today view for our one-on-one clients, you're going to see your one-on-one nutrition plan, which will be a link out to the updated PDFs. And you'll see your nutrition program, which is essentially your menu, which is themed. In time, they're going to be different things that will all match different goals then as we build those out. But you've got a database of different things to kind of choose from. You'll see what your daily meals look like, and you can click on them and see what's all happening. And that's what it'll look like. This week and the next week, you can see all of your different meals. There they all are. You can click on the meal and you'll get the recipe where the portion sizes. The one that's recommended for you will be in brackets. But if you click on that, you can change it. So if your coach is advised going down to a small or a light portion, just go change that. They'll be able to override it for you shortly. For now, that's all you just need to do. And the ingredients will just change along with that. Most of the recipes serve one person. There are a few meal prep recipes that make sense cooking them in bulk. And then we'll say this makes 4 or this makes 8. And for your portion, have 1 or 2 or whatever the case is. Freeze it, put it in the fridge, let your hubby eat the rest of it, whatever it is, because it does cook a little bit more, but we'll say that on the recipe. You can scroll down to the bottom of the recipe and swap it out. That swap out function also pulls in all of your filters and everything that you choose. So you can just click on the little anti-clockwise arrow and that'll bring it into your meal instead. So you can swap out for that option. So that's all there. If you want to go have a look at our extensive list of recipes, you go to the search down at the bottom on your app, and then you can search either for any activity, any type of exercise, and then also any of our recipes. You can go look through all of them. Those are our entire database, so they aren't filtered to your needs. That only happens in your menu and your swap out function instead. All right. And then in your today view, you've got your one-on-one nutrition plan, which you'll see the beautiful Tony and the less beautiful me on the front of it. And then all the details, how it breaks down is all in there, and a little bit of background into what's sort of happening. All right, so that's that little bit. Before I have my wrap-up slide, I want to get to a few more questions if there's anything. If your coach, for example, moves you, I have already read that one, apologies. Feeling blonde, to be honest, not understanding the column, the number in the column, the amount of units you allowed. So breakfast, 2 protein, 2 carb, 1 fat. Yes, exactly. That's correct. So your example is right. And those just add up to the big number that's at the top. So it's an example of breaking down your big number into, if it was balanced, it'll be 2 protein, 2 carb, 1 fat, for example. And then veg is just all sort of additional on there. So quickly, just to give everyone who needs a refresh in it, you can go into your preferences, and to reset your menu, all you need to do is go to where it says standard, vegetarian, or vegan. Just change it to one of the others and hit save, and then change it back to what your preference is and hit save again, and it'll refresh your menu. So if there's anything, for example, you're seeing the same meals because there was a bug yesterday, and if you haven't refreshed it since then, it wouldn't have changed that. Or if your filters were too extensive and there's just nothing pulling through, you can refresh it that way. Some people had chosen both low carb and low fat, which doesn't exist in this system. It needs to be one or the other. So there were no meals for that. So some people didn't see a meal. We've made it that you can't do that anymore. So that can't happen. But your preferences, you can just update for that. And if there are just, quite limited amounts based on having ticked a lot of things, maybe just go tick the ones that are the most important in your preferences for you. and refresh it so that you see a wider range of options instead. Okay, so that's how you can go and refresh it. The other thing a menu might not show if your start date for your nutrition program is the week ahead. So you just need to go into your program, you click on it, like on the previous screen where you could see the nutrition program explains a little bit about it. You can go change the start date to the week that you're in instead of next week. That might also make it show for you. Okay, so 2 little things. Then just to sum up, this is the start of something more. There's great things coming, so much lined up. Just play with it, embrace it, use it. It's another tool. If whatever else you're doing is working for you, that's cool. It's totally fine. If this doesn't work for you, it takes a little bit of getting used to, that's okay. If you want to stick with your previous one-on-one nutrition plan, it's still there in the old app. You can still go to that app and go view it. All of those old menus are there as well. We just won't be supporting those old menus because they don't match our system anymore. We won't be bringing out new menus into the old one-on-one app. It's all here. So if you're happy just following those, it's fine. And for simplicity's sake, that's okay. All right. The most important thing is that you're happy, you're getting results. We're just starting to introduce a bit more of a tailored and flexible way of doing that. All right. Couple of things that are coming. I know we've had some questions about it. We're actively building out our shopping list, which is a great feature. It's going to be super. It's going to make life easy. So whatever your menu is, it's going to tell you what to go buy. I know you guys loved that from the challenge menus and the one-on-one menus that we were doing. So that's going to be fantastic. That shopping list is coming, guys. Don't worry. We're building out new nutrition programs all the time. The magic ones coming in Jan around different health topics as well. And that's going to build out. So based on goals, you're going to start seeing so much more there. For now, they're seasonal. They're based on menus and things that are available based on all sorts of recipes. We'll build them out. A few other things that are kind of in the pipelines, ways to kind of build your own meals, like I mentioned, tracking your daily habits and tracking daily intake. That's not just food picks, it's all sorts of different things. Smart recommendations that can trigger based on your progress, based on what you've been logging, based on your accountability and your activity. These are all things, because we're doing what we're doing now, it's going to enable us to do these other things. And to be honest, it's going to, in my opinion, and I might be a little bit biased, but put a nutrition-focused part of an app that doesn't exist anywhere else. There's no one else doing this kind of thing. And I think we're going to end up with something absolutely epic. We're also going to build other programs, things that might, recommend around supplementation and how you tie that into whatever you're eating, because we know what you're doing, you're following it, you're logging it, or anything's happening. So there's so many epic things to come. This is the start of it. So we get used to the change now, we implement, we embrace it, you give us feedback, that's how we grow. It's not just this is it and this is what it's going to be. We're listening to what you guys are saying, and that's why and how we are kind of doing everything for you guys to make your life easier, to hopefully get you the results that you need and keep you on top of it. All right. Antoinette says the new Club web app looks incredible and nutrition looks delicious, which is super. Kerry, it's giving the impression that only about calories, but each macro has its function. Yes, we've done that in the background based off the goal orientation, which is why we've done that. So your weight change is going to be determined purely by your energy balance, but how you achieve that is based or the health that you achieve is based off balance. And that's why we've kind of limited how we build those, knowing from our side what we believe in terms of getting a balanced approach, or even if we're doing it from low carb or low fat, what we think the best way is, so that we can still do that. And the foods that we build into our database are the ones that we think are best going to support that. So it's not about extremes at all. And hopefully anyone who spends a bit of time with us knows that. It's about providing flexibility and guidance to get you that way instead. Pescatarian. There was a pescatarian you would have seen originally, possibly on a filter. It was causing us some issues, so I'm reworking it and building it into a different place so that we can choose by pescatarian as well. And there's also, we're busy on making sure that we can filter by no red meat, for example. It just takes a little bit of work for us in the background, so we're busy on all of that at the moment. So it's according to the form behind this page with all foods and grams. I don't know that. I don't understand that question either. If you just reword that for me or send me a message, I'll let you know. Can't wait for the shopping list feature. I know, makes life super easy. We were actually I won't tease more than that, but yes. Sans asking Noel for something there. Chantal, you building out a feature to lock down my kitchen after you have dinner so your late night snacking will stop. Would love that. Possibly. So watch this space for a little habit tracker. So you'll be able to track that. And when you aren't ticking it, someone can tap you on the app shoulder and say, Chantal, what's going on here? And if you need a one-on-one coach, that's exactly what it's for as well, to say, Chantal, why are you doing that? Accountability is the answer to so much. I know myself, accountability goes a long way. Pat, thank you. It's a pleasure. Guys saying, thank you. Your first plan received on Monday is very different to this new one on your app. I don't know what you received on Monday. Sorry, I don't have a name on that comment either. Can we assume the macro accounts are built into the overall allowances in line with your personal plans? Exactly. The dots on the background and looked after. Yes. Everything's looked after for you guys in the menus and the recipes. We do all that hard work, all that lifting for you, so that if you follow it, you'll get your results. Or the suggestion needs to be changed. You go down a portion level or up a portion level or whatever. If you want to create your own and you're on the one-on-one, you've then got the system to kind of play around with that yourself. So either way does work. All right. Kel joined late. We'll listen later if they're dairy-free versions. Yes. So one of the filters, dairy-free. So you click on dairy-free and whatever comes through will be all the recipes that we've tagged to be dairy-free. And then you can swap out as well. So you can swap out for another meal. So you click on it, you go down, find another snack that matches your needs instead. Obsessed with the new app. Beautiful. Food just got so much more fun. That makes me happy to hear that. Guys, so if you're watching this on catch up, please send through any questions or queries. Send them to me if you need to, so you can save it going to your coach and then to me if you want. Pop them in somewhere. I can help you guys out nice and quickly. Obviously, a lot of this is also new for your coaches because they're coaching you on two different systems. They've got the talents and the skills to do both. But for all of us, it's change. And even now that we've rolled it out, we're learning kind of where we didn't think about something. Let's change that. Let's make that better. That's what it's about. You saw one of my very first slides was a man building his airplane as he flew. It's a bit of a comment because we've got this epic airplane, but some of it we build as we fly based off your feedback, what works, what doesn't, things we didn't think about, what can be better. And that's what's amazing about it. It's based off what you guys want. Leanne, thank you. You're impressed, which is super. That makes me happy as well. So guys, hopefully that's a little bit of background. You understand why we do it, what it's based on, that there's a system behind this, and that system is going to allow us to build so much more, so much better. And if you're on the one-on-one, you can also understand, how that fits in with your coaching and what your coach can do for you and how you can tweak it and adjust it and get a little bit more out of it instead of just following one thing. So in a nutshell, that's that. Guys, it's the launch of something amazing. It's our first week of Jeff Club, and it's onward and upward from here. And I'm so excited, so proud of what the team has built behind us. You've seen Tony and Sandy on the comments here with us. This wouldn't be possible without them and all the other coaches and all our people kind of in the engine room. So from my side, thank you to you guys as well, because I know you're still here. Guys, we've got so much more of this path to walk with you. It's going to be fun. It's going to be real. And I'm looking forward to it. Guys, have a super Friday and a fabulous weekend. We will catch you all next week. Cheers for now.